So I'm here with Luigi Tavernese, and he's a junior fellow with Engineers Without Borders, McGill chapter. He just went to Burkina Faso, and when was it that you went?
It was this past summer.
Okay.
So yeah, from May till August.
And can you tell me a little bit about your experience there?
Sure. The way I always start by introducing my experience in Burkina is with the fact that if you look up some information about Burkina, one of the first things you'll find is that about 80 to 90% of the population works in agriculture. And so it's a very important sector in the country. And so I was working in the agricultural sector through Engineers Without Borders in partnership with a local federation whose goal it is to support farmers in the region. And one of the ways they were doing that was by providing business support to farmers, so different management tools for them. And my role with this federation was to work with them in strengthening their capacity of delivering that business support program.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And what was the name of the community that you were in?
I was in a village called Gomponsom, which is located in the Pasore province, which is in the north of Burkina Faso.
Okay. And are there any other exciting things that happen there that, like, cool stories or interesting interesting people that you met?
I think my entire time there was was interesting. I think. Wow, that's a great question. So much that's in my head. I think one of the most interesting things, which kind of happened every single day, was the necessity for me to learn more about the context every single day. And the minute I thought I understood something, probably a week or 2 weeks later, I would realize that I hadn't, and would need to relearn more about the context. And I think for me what struck home with that point was the importance of understanding the context. And I think in the past I've worked here in Canada, where I've been born and raised, and so a lot of the context I already understood, and that wasn't the case in Burkina Faso. So yeah, I'd have to think of like an anecdote.
Well, we'll go on, and if something comes up, you can just stop me. But how did you first become interested in working with Engineers Without Borders? And I guess, is it an application process to become a junior fellow?
Yeah, to become a junior fellow. Yeah,
okay.
I became interested in Engineers Without Borders in my first year.
Okay.
It came. I mean, I had been thinking a lot about thinking about a lot my career and what to study in university. And one of my first classes was an introduction to mechanical engineering, and a professor described an engineer to me as a creative humanitarian. And that really struck home with me, and I think was a big part of my motivation for going into engineering in the first place. And I realized I didn't necessarily understand what it meant to be a creative humanitarian, and so I wanted to learn more about that. And I came across a presentation of Engineers Without Borders at the time from their junior fellow, and I was just really drawn by the integrity of the organization and its approach, and so decided to stick around and learn more about it.
That's cool. And from your experiences with Engineers Without Borders, what do you think is the most important thing for people to know about your project, whether or not they're potential donors or potential fellows?
Okay. I think the best way I can answer that question is speaking a little bit about what we do here in Canada.
Okay.
Because we have overseas volunteers, but a lot of our volunteers actually work very hard here in Canada.
Okay.
Especially within our university, because it's our immediate working environment. And a lot of our focus here is on this concept of global engineer. And I think what that means to us is the global engineer is the new generation of engineers we would like to see graduating from Canadian universities. And they're engineers that have a deeper understanding of global issues and the complexity of them, and as well have the knowledge, skills, and attitudes to act. And so a lot of our programs here, we have volunteers who are working on a program that we call curriculum enhancement,
Okay.
where we've developed a series of modules that we deliver within the engineering curriculum, aimed at developing the knowledge, skills, and attitudes of engineers working in a global context. I think another good example is our youth engagement program,
Okay.
where we work with high school students. This year we had a new partnership with Marianopolis College,
Okay.
as well with some local high schools and elementary schools, on having the kids learn more about certain global issues, and a lot of our focus has been on global poverty,
Okay.
and learning more about it and also seeing what they can do.
Oh, that's neat. What are some of the ways that you engage with the kids with the workshops or whatever? What are some of the, I guess, tools or resources that you use?
Mm-hmm. We start with we have a series of about 3 different presentations that we offer for students.
Okay.
One of my favorite is called Water for the World,
Mm-hmm.
where students get to learn a little bit on how they have access to water, so how their water actually gets to their home. So they learn more about their context and as well context in other countries. And then from there they move on to do an interactive activity, which kind of highlights a bit the differences between countries and the different challenges that exist between them. And it's a fun activity and the kids like it a lot.
Yeah.
And over the last 2 years, we've gone from presentations to more, I think, partnerships with certain schools.
Mm-hmm.
And so we actually start redeveloping some new material. We run a workshop called Root Causes of Poverty, which looks at all the different, or all of them, a lot of the different factors that come into play when we're working in international development, and how they interact with one another, and how that becomes important when you're approaching your work in international development. So.
All right, cool. To go back to your time in Burkina Faso, I wanted to ask you, in the time that you were there, what sort of progress did you see your team making, and what did you put in place that would make you can see making a difference in the long term?
Okay, great question. So I think what was very exciting for me when I was in Burkina was seeing just how much there is to learn about the sector. And so I think for a team in Burkina Faso, they're constantly learning. And what I was working on was based off of the learnings in the past. I was working on a new partnership with our Farmers Association. And so I was basically starting Engineers Without Borders as learning on our organization. Let's see, I have to think about the changes. I need to think about this one because I can talk about different things.
Okay.
I think someone wants to come.